Hi everyone. So, ancient ones, I hope that you're doing well. Bonsoir la societe, gracias a la misericordia. And something that I've been doing recently is answering what we get, common questions, etc. here as a part of doing what we're doing here, because there's lots of learning in that. And so many blessings to all of you. As always, if you'd like to donate to these lives, having me do more lives, Cash App us, or you can send us a PayPal. Cash App is cash symbol Hector Salva. PayPal is help at mysticalwork.com. You can also check me out at hectorsalva.com, where you'll end up subscribed to the blog, subscribe to our newsletter, where you're going to get tons of good information, updates, etc. And check me out on Facebook at Hungan Hector, same thing on Instagram. So basically, I have, this is a really good one, right? It's called, I'm going to call this one Afraid of Losing Yourself, Fear of the Master. So this is a really good one, and this is what I get these from time to time, right? So this person's like, I'm afraid, right, of coming even closer to you, right? I'm afraid of even coming closer to you because I'm actually afraid of losing myself. And this is a really big uncovering that they did right there, right? And this is something that happens, is that the mind wants you to reject, and it wants you to go against, right, what is best for you, when the spirit has told you already where you need to be and has shown you the pathway, right? And the mind will come into play and have that happen. And so this is something that started out for this person, is that, you know, they realize that they really do need the help of the master, right? They need the help of the master, but a big problem around the master, right, especially in the West, is that one's ego in the West, or anywhere actually in the world now, is so easily bruised, right? And so when one hears the word master, one doesn't understand that he's a master because he's a master of himself. The world holds no hold over him. And the ego is, and the way that it's been kind of connotated, is as if he's the master of others, right? And that's what makes him the master. But that's actually not what makes him the master. What makes him the master is he's so much a master of himself that he naturally becomes a master of everything around him, right? And so there's a very subtle difference in that, right? But nobody wants to feel like, you know, that they're underneath the master, right? But until you reach, it's just a process. The master is showing you where you can be, right? So pride, which this person has basically became aware of, was what was having this person want to push away from what the spirit was telling them to do. So your spirit will tell you, and many people have this experience with the master. So when you have a real spiritual master, there's going to be a great fear that arises in you. You have to understand this. The master brings inspiration, but the master also brings fear. A great fear is going to arise in you. And part of that fear is because you're going to be afraid of losing yourself. And if you lose yourself, that's the most beautiful thing that could have happened to you. Because what yourself is, as it is now, is nothing that you want to keep as you are currently, not as what you can be. Okay? And so a great fear arises. Okay? And this reminds me of a time where I was explaining this, right, to one of my godchildren, how naturally, very naturally, a great fear arises in people, especially around the master, without really understanding why. And as I was out with my godchild that night and had explained that to him, I told him I would show him, right? I would easily show him how, as we went from place to place, right, how people's interactions with me versus people's interactions with everyone else were either driven by that inspiration or that fear, right? And I told him that because of that fear, many people will come to try to go in against the master. They try to fight, right? And fighting is futile. Fighting is futile. Because once you've already come into the web of the master, once you've already come into that field, right, you can only go but so far. If you've touched a true master, if you come into the field of a true master, you can only go but so far. You will come back, right? And something will become awakened in you, right? And so as we went to this one location, I was like, watch how, like, basically all these people are just going to immediately kind of like go in against me for no reason, including the employees there. And that's exactly what happened, right off the bat, because they were very much holding on to their false self and their egos, right off the bat, just walking in the door. Immediately there was negative commentary about me and my presence. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing, really, because my godchild got to see how that works, right? Because the ego is so fragile and it's so false, and so it's very scared. It's scared of its destruction. But in that destruction or in that death, the truth, something beautiful and blissful can arise. But it takes a rebirth. That's why our processes of initiation are rebirth, right? So they talk about lessons. I'm not going to get into that. That's not the purpose of today, right? But something that they became aware of was that they had to humble themselves and realize that they don't know. And that's something that is part of the fear reaction that you're going to have around a master, right? Because you have to let go of all that false knowledge, of all that which you think you know, but you don't actually know. It's just regurgitated information that you're educated on, that you believe, and that you think, or that you think you know. Okay? So then they say they're afraid of coming even closer to me. They're afraid of losing themselves. And they're afraid of losing what they know. And worse, of losing status. That's what the fear the master brings in. Because to be with a master is to allow all the false to be destroyed. Right? And something that 2020 has shown many people, is that many things you believed was false. Many things that you believed or you had comfort in, or you thought made you something, or gave you a sense of stability, was false. If something crumbled and you no longer felt stable, then you are not stable. Your stability then is false. Okay? Your stability is false. Your stability is created by something that you have no control over. So, they're afraid of losing themselves, right? And they acknowledge it's losing the intellect and learning. The false learning, it's the false. What you're going to lose with the master is that which is false, that which holds you back, this anxiety, this nervousness, all these fears. What's false? You're going to lose that, right? You have to be ready to sacrifice yourself. Sacrifice meaning getting rid of, allowing that which is false to die. But you can't do that by yourself, which is why you need the master. Okay? And the master's presence just itself brings these things to light. Right? And they acknowledge something that a lot of people do. Right? And I've noticed this about you, the person writing this to me, and a lot of other people, right? You cling to feeling smarter than other people. You know more. You're smarter. You're better. You're special. You're different. Right? And to the education that you have. But your education is not wisdom. Okay? And in my lives and all these things, I've been talking about wisdom and education and knowledge and all the differences between all of those things. Right? And, when your ego, right, what you're going to lose, the false self, what you're going to lose and what you're going to sacrifice, is all that which is basically small. You're going to lose what's small in order to gain something greater. Right? So, the master, okay? The master, their very presence, right? They're very being with you, right? It's something that is incredibly, I don't even have words to put to the experience. I really don't. So I'm just gonna leave you with that, right? But the master is brings up fear. And it's not just gonna bring up fear for you. It's gonna bring up fear for other people for you. Okay? And other people will try to discourage you. And will try to get you away from the master. Right? And other people may even provide you opportunities, things that look good, right? In order for you to be away from the master, right? It's really deceptive because what you're going to get from the master, they don't want you to have. That's the thing. They don't want you to have because they're not going to have it themselves and they're not willing to do what it takes to the steps to take that journey and go upon that quest to gain that which the master has for you. Okay? And so other people will discourage you and other people will ask you, well, why are you so close with the master? Why do you follow that person? Why are you behind that person? Why are you under that person? But then they have a misunderstanding of what a master is. Okay? Because the master is not about above and below. The master is about a totality, right? And the master is a mirror. And so, like I said, when I was out with my disciple, right, these people just started randomly like going in. And then I also showed my disciple how, like, basically in another location, right, I could go in there and inspire a whole bunch of, create a whole bunch of inspiration, joy, and light. It all depends really on the master, A, but also upon the characters that are there. The more they've clinged to falseness, right? The more they've clung to falseness, the more the fear will rise, and the stronger need to show that they know, right? And so the ego wants to hold on, the mind wants to hold on, right? That's why the mind doesn't want to make the commitment to the path or to the master, right? The mind wants to tell you, oh, you can have many teachers, you could learn from many people. A dog that tries to walk on many paths gets nowhere. Okay, he stands up in the same spot. And many people can't take you there. That's the truth, right? But once you've really had a touch of being in the master's true presence, right? You're only going to go but so far, right? So for this person who wrote this email, I want you to contact me because you just made a big step. There's a big step that's going on here for you, and there's a step that needs to be taken for you. You're already someone who's with me, right? But a thing has just happened for you, and there's a proper process that goes on for that, right? To stabilize. And that's going to help you, right? There's a really big transformation actually that if you sit with it, you're going to be able to be with it and understand it. Okay, now you've really changed. Starting to see what is really there, right? And that fear, it happens to everyone, right? And it just depends on the outer reaction may be different, but the fear will be there, right? Because that which you've clung to, that's what you hold on to for so long, okay, including your pain and your suffering, which you've used to identify yourself with, okay, and become, it's going to be destroyed, right? You have to be born again, right? Truly born again. And that's something that it's going to be scary because the seed is scared, right? But even though it's scared, it pushes past the fear in order to break open its shell. And there's a step that just occurred there for that person with that email, but there's also been a few other emails from other individuals along the same lines, right? Where they came to the realization that there was this fear. And also because of that fear, they were letting or allowing people who have no real good interest at heart for them, right, to interfere with what their spirit is telling them to do. Their spirit draws them here. Your spirit draws you here. Your spirit has put you here. It has put you here to watch this, right? And if you can open yourself to the fact that your spirit knows more than you can start to follow their guidance, right? And so a lot of people have a big distrust around masters, and that's because they're untrustworthy. A lot of your distrust of a true master speaks about your untrustworthiness. It doesn't speak about the master. Are there untrustworthy people posing false masters? Yeah, there are. But oftentimes it's also parts of your own fear that are driving you towards those individuals. Okay? And fear would drive you away from the true master. Because you'll be afraid. You'll be afraid to be no more, to be not as you are and what you know. But there's something greater in that. That if you can go into it and take those steps, something greater can be achieved. Out of that destruction of the false, beauty and truth can come through in a different world for you. So, this video, like I said, is called Fear of Losing Yourself, and something else. And if you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Over 2,000 other people have subscribed. Let's get those numbers up, right? And subscribe. What else? Oh, you can also donate to us at Cash App, cash symbol, Hector Salva. Check us out at hectorsalva.com, Hungan Hector on IG and Facebook. We have a new group called Mystic Mavericks. What is a mystic? It's somebody who's basically understand and is walking the path or on the journey towards unity, love, life, liberation, freedom, celebration. That's a mystic, right? And mystics, right, are consciously, purposefully taking that path. That's on Facebook. If you want to join the group, you know, add me as a friend, hit me up on the message on Facebook. Because when you send me messages elsewhere, I may not know your Facebook name. So, you know, it's just easier if you hit me up on a message on Facebook. We'll get you in. And if you speak Spanish, we have a new group there for Spanish speakers called Místicos, where we're going to do spiritual stuff about, that. So many blessings for the person who wrote me this email, and for the other individuals who have written me similar emails. Go ahead, or maybe you've had this realization here today. Maybe today you've realized you need to be closer with me, right? And that's what's been stopping you, or that's what you've been allowing to be stopping you. Then you need to go ahead and contact us, because there's something big that could be going on for you, and that could be transforming you, transformative for you, right? Let's get that caterpillar into a butterfly. And so email us at help@mysticalwork.com, or maybe you're ready for that transformation yourself. Maybe you're ready for love, life, freedom, and celebration. Hit us up. We got you. So keep the faith, and many blessings.